Time I remember this song, I remember us as a brand, as a family radio station, where we come and have conversations about each and every member of the family, how it affects you, and how it affects the society at large. It's exactly 2 minutes past the 10 o'clock hour. Your one family, one radio station, Super 92.7 FM, is the frequency that you are tuned into, locked in, and focused. And we bring you all around entertainment, content, and conversations in between. We inform, educate, and entertain, as is our stance right here. Today's conversation is one that you are quite acquainted with. But I mean, we need to keep talking about these things. We need to have conversations with ourselves. And we need to, as a community, as a society, understand that there are underlying issues that are preventable, so that this doesn't in turn become something that would escalate and turn into a full-blown rivalry. I had seen a post on social media of someone who said she hasn't spoken to her sibling for about 7 years, another 10 years. Others were talking about 15, 20. And at the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, that is wild. But some issues prevail. I watched a movie not too long ago on a popular streaming platform about sibling rivalry. And it started with attention on a particular child and neglect on the part of the other child. So the child who was neglected thought to themselves that they weren't good enough and started doing everything possible to ensure that the other sibling doesn't beat her at anything. Dupati is the name of the movie. It's a movie that was set in China or India precisely. And I began to think about how it's important that parents need to step in, because it begins with you. The family is the first form of socialization. It begins with the family, it begins with siblings, it begins with parents, moms, dads. I mean, no sibling is perfect. You argue, you fight, you even stop talking to each other at times for some time. But in the end, your family and your love for each other would always be there. You would never see your sibling going astray and not call them to order, because anything that affects them inadvertently affects you too. I always say this. Every time my brothers misbehave, I tell them, please, don't tarnish my image. And someone had to ask me, what is tarnish your image? I said, because they say, that is Gift's brother. You have called me in the mix. I was just on my own. Remember the situation of, I think, John Boyega's uncle. I didn't even know that he was John Boyega's uncle, the Nigerian pastor who's in the US, who they said he was going to face deportation because he had committed fraudulent activities. I mean, from the inception, I never knew he was John Boyega's uncle. I just saw on social media, John Boyega's uncle. I'm like, okay, they would definitely attribute this person to you. So this person is family, whether you like it or not. This person is your sibling. You both came from the same womb. I mean, there's no one in the world other than your sibling who knows what it's like to having been raised the way that you were. I dare say that nobody understands you the most than your siblings. Sometimes parents don't even get it. But your sibling, the person who you both grew up with, understands you and the way that you were raised more than any other person out there. Now, let's treat the causes. How does sibling rivalry originate? How does it come about? What happened? How did you both decide to start this thing and start this unnecessary and I dare say ridiculous thing? First of all, it could be the family dynamics. Some families contribute to sibling rivalry, and sometimes blended families, unplanned families, parental separation. It happens where both of you, your family dynamic is quite different. Anyone with a sibling can tell you a story of sibling rivalry. Anyone whatsoever. I mean, it's remarkably common in families that consist of more than one child, of course, where you have your siblings and all that. And it doesn't have to be detrimental. Sometimes it's even a way to actually boost your morale. It has its positive and negative effects. Individuals who grew up with siblings have rich opportunity to understand conflict resolution. But sometimes this resolution actually blows out of proportion and may not even necessarily happen because you both have allowed it linger on for too long. And then it becomes full blown that in years you both will see yourselves and walk away. And there's no conversation. And there's a psychology behind it. When I think about it intentionally, I think that in all of this, the parents need to do a better job at raising kids. It starts from you, daddy. It starts from you, mommy. If your child does something wrong and you correct them, correct the first child the same way you correct the second child. Because when a child notices that there's some sort of preferential treatment for a particular child, they begin to get sidelined and begin to think that mommy doesn't love me just like she loves Toby. Mommy doesn't like me as she loves Stella. And that takes them into their shell. And I mean, they may show and exhibit some reactions that you need to take note of. And at that point, stamp on it and tell them, I love you just the way that I love your brother. Just the way I love your sister. I love you both equally. Let them understand the equality of that. And I try to sit back and I try to think about what could have caused this competition for attention. Now, siblings may compete for their parents' attention. First children would understand this because I'm the first child. But I remember loving my sister so much that every time attention, maybe as a child, I may have thrown some tantrums when my sister was born because, of course, I was used to be the only child for 4 whole years. And then all of a sudden, one minion decides to come into the picture and everybody's attention is on this minion, this sibling. Everybody's attention, everybody's trying to carry her, everybody's trying to pay attention to her. And I mean, I want attention too, right? So it starts from there. It builds from there. And then giving your children attention. When a child comes, you give that child attention. When the second child comes, do not forget the first child. Do not forget the child after that child or the one after. Like, you need to constantly remind your children that you love them, because sometimes children may go as far as feeling jealous and feeling the need to compete for the amount of love that you're showing another child. It's possible that you can show your children equal love and scold them the exact same way and not blame one child for the other child's misfortune or misconduct. Because some parents are seen to do that, especially if the child that, if the child that has wronged is a younger one, and then they will ask the older one, where were you when your sister was doing that? And then they will beat the older one on top of it. No, this is where it starts. This is how it starts. And I mean, it's quite unfair that we see it in today's world. We see it in today's families. Because yes, you want your older kids to be responsible for your younger kids. But guess what? No. You are responsible for them both. Don't let a child raise another child. Because as minute as this thing that you may seem seem to be, it is actually quite detrimental to the child. Now, major life changes could actually be one of the reasons why a lot of people indulge in sibling rivalry. Take, for example, children that don't grow up together. I know that I heard this thing once that was quite laughable, where they said, oh, because you did not give them beans. They didn't eat beans from the same place, or they didn't eat together. That's why they are always fighting. It's normal that children will fight. It's normal that kids will go tete-a-tete with themselves growing up. But understanding that, you need to love your brother. You need to love your sister. You need to be there for them. And tell the other sibling the same thing. I mean, it makes them understand that, okay, despite everything, this person is family. This person is my blood. I'm supposed to be there for them. Not fight with them. Yes, you both can have your conflict, but it's important that as children, because that's where it starts. As kids, you try to, their formative years are very, very important. Those years are very important to how they perceive life and perceive family and perceive values. I always say this jokingly to my friends, but I mean it. And they're like, oh, Gift, what's the matter? What's the matter with you? If push comes to shove and a situation occurs where somebody has to go, somebody has to more or less die. I always say this, Lord Jesus, preserve my siblings. Like, I'd rather go for them to stay on earth. Like, that is how so much love that I have for my siblings. And this was built with my parents. This was built with my parents. I saw how much they loved us and how much love that we had to share And inadvertently to my siblings, my father would come home. You knew that, you understood that there was just this. My father would go as far as, after we're done eating, his protein, his meat, fish, he would share it into small pieces. And everybody knows when they need to pick up their piece. I go first, and then my cousin is still with us. So my cousin, who's older than I am, goes first, and I go second. My sister goes next, and then my brothers go next. Like, it was something that was a standard in the house. So, I mean, it's important that as kids, you try to nurture, because that's where it starts. And your parents' conflict resolution skills is also something that parents need to take into cognizance. How do you resolve issues? Do you blame one child over the other and make the other child feel that they are not important enough? These are the questions that we need to ask. Well, you can join in on the conversation and you can be a part of this. If you ever felt sidelined by your parent and that has caused you to not so much as like your sibling or like your brother, or what happened that caused your sibling rivalry? What happened? Or have you heard of anything? I want to know. 0705 8904927 is the number to call me on. 0705 8904927 or 08050920927. This conversation is aimed at mending this relationship between siblings, because this is your brother, this is your sister, and of course, you both were cut from the same cloth. You were born from the same parent, even if you both were not born from the same parent, even if it's your stepbrother, your stepsister. Because that's another dynamic that is different. That's why family dynamics actually matter a lot in sibling rivalry. And it causes a lot of things, positive and negative, inclusive. Well, I got to go on this short break. But when I come back, you can definitely send me a message when I'm on the break. So 0705 6900927 is the WhatsApp line. I'll be waiting for your messages. Go nowhere. I'll be right back.
Your life, your choice, your music on your station.
Energy stay far away.
92.7 Super FM.
You are listening to the Super Breakfast Show to get your day started right here on Super 92.7 FM.
As a fan of praise and worship, imagine the rhythm of BJ Sax, Yinka Alashiori, and Blessing Lopez. The ministration of Tope Alabi, the vibes of NK, Mike Abdul, Tosin Alao, Tony Adoki, Testimony Jaka, Akboro, Tosin B, all on one stage, and a host of other prominent ministers. 2024, increase and abound. Location is the Police College Ground, Ikeja GRA, on December 26th, Boxing Day, from 10 a.m. Entry is free, because you don't have to pay to praise.
Praise in the city, give Jesus praise.
A Thanksgiving music festival, powered by CC 1051 FM.
I made up my mind to leave yesterday, but you won't stop calling me. You won't stop telling me all these lies that I seem to believe. It might seem far away, my senses far from you. They say it's make believe, it's fantasy, nobody understands it. When there ain't no sunrise, when the sun is not bright, all I know is I belong to you. When there ain't no sunrise, when the sun is not bright, all I know is I belong to you, to you, to you, to you, to you, to you. I'm sorry, I won't take it personal with you. I'm sorry, just
That song by Fave, who just officially graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University with a degree in law. That one is called Belong to You. Your one family, one radio station, Super 92.7 FM. As family members, you belong to each other. As siblings, you belong to each other. This conversation we're having today is called The Causes of Sibling Rivalry and How to Put a Stop to It, how to end it. We've already established the fact that it starts from childhood. It starts from childhood. I mean, you definitely have fought as kids. What makes you retire the rivalry as grown-ups? Because guess what? It transcends to when you're older. It usually comes down, like first of all, on how kids are being treated by their parents. If you've been treated differently, whether it's real or even perceived, it's the most consistent predictions of how sibling rivalry begins and the competition that eludes afterwards. Not just as kids, but I mean, it found out that it now grows up with them, that when they are older, it continues. As grown-ups, tensions can even mount. One person may seem as more happy or successful. The conflict may be verbal, taking snips at each other, saying, oh, my brother did this, I need to do more than he has done. It goes beyond that. The clashes are inevitable, I know. If you haven't spoken to your sibling today, my darling, or you've not spoken to them this week or this month, call them, especially if you both are having a clash. Have a conversation about it. It's important. Have that conversation. It would do you so much. It would heal your inner child. Rivalries continue as people grow older, and it's quite unhealthy, if we're being honest. It can happen in very small cases. It can happen in large cases. I mean, you may have known your sibling, your brother, all your life, but I mean, it makes the sibling different from the ones that you have with friends. And oftentimes, it falls back to family patterns. You tend to look at the shared experiences that you both had when you're growing up, your mannerism, and when the values that you have crash or clash, it becomes prevalent that issues would occur. It would definitely occur. How to get started with solving this is challenging yourself to better understand your brother or your sister, their goals, their needs, their preferences, their perspective to some issues, the values that they may have gotten from the entire family. And it takes compassion and listening. A lot of people out there do not listen. They just look at things from their own perspective. Oh, I'm looking at it. You're looking at it from just one angle. Try to step out of yourself a bit and look at it from the perspective of your sibling. Try to find out what the experiences may have been. Because yes, even though you both are from the same family, your experiences were different. The way that you were treated was obviously different. And maybe one person was treated better than the other. That's when the rivalry comes. Even the trivial things can cause a relationship rift that can last for years. The most trivial things. Oh, mommy got you a shoe and she got me sandals. That is where rivalry starts. And that's why my mom always makes the point of duty. When she buys things for my brothers, she buys them in twos. And it now made it in such a way that my brothers, when they're wearing their outfit, they're not twins, but you will perceive them as twins. In fact, for the longest time in church, people thought they were twins because they wear the exact same outfit. So when one person is wearing purple, they wear the exact, if it's the traditional outfit, senator, they wear the same thing, the same color. So we put their outfit in twos. If it's the shoes, we buy them in twos. If one person is getting shoes for a particular event and we get to buy one, guess what? Before the end of that week or the week after, we buy the second one, even if the other person doesn't have an event to attend with that outfit. Because it helps. It helps to build inclusivity. Oh, you are loved too. Yes, we may not show, but it's important that one sibling is not put over the other. Now, sometimes when I think about siblings or being a part of a family or having someone, because some people are looking for siblings. Some people are the only child of their parents. They're the only ones. And they need that. I know that sometimes when I see some posts on social media, or some people say, when you have a sibling, and sometimes it's usually chaotic, sometimes a lot. But when you look at it real good, someone to share laughter, tears with, someone that you can easily just call, and just talk to someone who understands you, someone who won't toss you away. Friends will betray you. I know I've heard of siblings that betray other siblings, which is so sad if this is your experience. But when you think about it, this is someone that has your back. So tell me, have you ever had an issue like this before? Are you speaking with your sibling? Are you talking to them? If you aren't, my darling, I think it's high time you both come to a round table and have that conversation. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard. It may have been something that your parents did in the past that caused it, but you both need to find the root cause and find out how you can navigate through it. You can call me on 0705 8904 or 080 20927, or you could call me on 0802 502 7711. You can also send a WhatsApp message on 0705 6900927. You can also send a voice note on WhatsApp if you want. Right, as people grow up, I mean, you find out that you develop more and more complicated narratives about relationships. As siblings, as children, you can call them to order. When a fight or conflict arises, you bring them together, apologize to your brother, apologize to your sister, and then when that happens, you both hug it out. Because whether you like it or not, you see children that just fought. Now. My brothers used to do when they were young. They would fight, they would go tete-a-tete. You see them at night sleeping, hugging themselves. And I'm like, look at these two people that couldn't go, that were going at loggerheads with each other. If my brother is not around and he has to be at home, these are 20-something-year-old boys, men. If one of my brothers is not around, the other goes to sleep in my mom's room because they cannot sleep without like touching each other or touching themselves, like bodies touching each other. They cannot sleep. Like they would literally do the things the same until when it's time they sleep together on the same bed. Even if they go and they talk and they have issues, they sort it out. The next thing say, do you want to go and buy biscuits? Or do you want to, let's go to the mall? Or let's go and buy something at the end of the street together. So understanding that or brewing them or grooming them when they're young is actually important to understand that love conquers all. And whether you as a sibling have had issues, it's important that you both sort it out. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. What is your name and where are you calling me from?
My name is Christine. Hi. Hello.
Oh, good morning. It's great to have you on the show.
Morning. Yeah, good topic.
Oh, thank you so
Great
much.
topic. I just want to say that I had an issue like this, while growing up. Like, I'm a colleague was talking about how you just maybe put your kids and before you know, the both of them are back together, playing, discussing. Yeah. And you as an elder be feeling that like, oh my God, what did I just do?
Exactly.
So I like feeling that we grow up seeing our parents questioning us, and at the end they say, come on, you are calling, right? We put the same food on the same place for you.
Yes.
Let me see if you will not eat.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to settle with your sibling, you won't eat now,
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up with that mentality that yes, our siblings, we can have misunderstanding, we can do a lot of things, but make sure your rivalry it doesn't become a rivalry.
Right.
That's the war.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a misfella with my own sister. Yes, we were kids. I tried to control myself because it was my elder, but I moved out of that space. It took me time to heal, but I had to call. I had to we didn't discuss about it because discussing it is just very open room.
Yes.
But I tried as much as I can as a younger one to make amends, just talk normal. And trust me, for me, it's gone, it's buried. I don't know about her, but I know because I'm still shaping talk, shaping the care that we can fight, the tongue and feet can have misunderstanding, but we still work together,
right,
to do things. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say this is a very good topic, and I wish people could listen more. And thank you, you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate. God bless you too. I deeply appreciate your openness to having this conversation with me, and thank you so much for the compliment. Because I mean, regardless of whether you both have fought, I mean, imagine this: when you're growing up, you can fight with your sibling in the house. You both can hit your heads on the wall, get injured, and do all that. But let somebody from the next compound, or even in your compound, touch your sibling. You see how you charge and head for and say, who touched my brother? Even though you and your brother, you just even had a fight like 2 minutes ago. That is the beauty of having a sibling, of having somebody to stand up for. That even though you both are going through your own things, it happens in the house. And it should not extend and create a lifelong craze that you both cannot stand each other. I've had to see siblings say, oh, my sister, please forget that one. Forget that. That is your blood. When push comes to shove, that person is your person. That's the only person that knows how you both were raised and can understand you a little more than people outside would. So if you are going through anything at this point, or if you are in a rivalry with your sibling, your brother, your sister, you haven't spoken to them for weeks or for months, or you both don't see eye to eye, today is that day. If you can hear the sound of my voice, today is that day that you will call them up. It's not about being the bigger person. Oh, take that out of the entire equation. Oh, I'm trying to be the bigger person. No, this is your sister. This is your brother. I see how Nancy Ume stands up for her sister Cora Obidi at every slight inconvenience. Anything that is said about her. I remember when the entire Justin, like Cora Obidi's husband situation occurred. And it was just a lot for Cora, you could tell. And Nancy will step in and say, anybody that says something about her sister, she has gone there. She'll say, you look at Chloe Bailey and Haley Bailey. And I'm sure that if Burna Boy does nonsense now, Haley Bailey will be in Lagos sharp because her sister is here in Lagos, Chloe with Burna. Right. So, as siblings, as sisters, as brothers, it's important. Preserve that relationship. Shift your perspective. I mean, imagine if a rivalry has occurred and you both are still at it. Maybe your sister has changed since childhood. Maybe they don't even understand why these issues keep occurring. So have that communication. Have that conversation. Have that conversation. Oh, mommy did this and I didn't like it when I was growing up. And that was why I felt the way that I felt, or I still feel the way that I feel. Shed tears. I mean, it will be a very emotional conversation, trust me, because you begin to dig deep and understand where the root cause of this issue is. And when you find out, okay, this is the reason why I've been upset, and this is the reason why I've been angry so much, so that it has gone through life with me, and I'm not even enjoying my sister, my only sister, because I just have one sister and two brothers. My only sister is not in Nigeria, and every time I think about how far away she is, I'm like, Lord Jesus, if I see this girl, I'm just literally going to hug her. We literally are going to stay hugged for maybe an hour because I wouldn't want to let go. That's my baby sister. And I feel like families out there, it's important. The love should blossom. The love should be embedded and ingrained in your system. It's important, very important to the family dynamic. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Thank you so much for our caller for calling in. I know that some people were like, you're listening, but they don't want to call in, or they don't want to be a part of it. But I know that you have learned a thing or two. Yes, I am definite of that. And if you ever are in a situation where you see sibling rivalry, or if you can stop it when they're kids, it's important that you do that. Or you notice that your mother is doing something to your child, tell the mother, Mama, no, it's beat this one as well. Both of them were wrong. Do you understand? So everybody should collect the fair share of the love and the fair share of the scolding. Well, I gotta go, but I have a lot more to give to you with regards to music. Well, Johnny Drill is here with an amazing song that I know that you would love. It's called Home, because home is where family is. Home is where your heart belongs to. And in home, you have your family, you have your siblings, and you have yourselves, because that